Okay, we're live.
Hello, guys.
Hello, everyone.
Hmm. How's everyone today?
Fine, Francesco.
Very good. I've been ready for Christmas holidays, dinners,
I see we have
family
our hoodie
time.
jumper, our nice ugly jumpers in good display.
Yeah, it
So
happens once a
only three
year.
of us, only three of us today. Mark obviously didn't have a jumper to be eligible for the session. So today we'll go through a bit of a roundtable and just cover some of our reflections on 2023, on what worked, what didn't work, what we liked, didn't like, and maybe look out into 2024. So we'll try and make it crisp. Just share our ideas, our thoughts, have a little discussion on each of the points and ideas, and um, and we'll leave it there. So if we can pull up the first question.
Here we have it.
There you go. So 2023 biggest winner. Who wants to take this one first?
I can go for it. I mean, we all
Go.
have our own winners, right?
Yeah.
Um,
So who's
of
your
course,
winner?
mine is obvious, huh? We're gonna
Solana.
talk. Yeah, sorry, guys, but I think that's the biggest winner, especially if you look at not specifically in 2023, but if you look the price 1 year ago after FTX collapse, like it's tenfold, I guess. So it's quite amazing because back then all the articles and all the media were stating that Solana is dead. It was backed by FTX. All the investors are gone. VCs are gone. It's gonna die. Of course, they had a short runway back then, but they are here. I think they went full blast this year, and yeah, it's amazing to see them. And they still have a lot in development because the fire dancer upgrade is going to come probably. Yeah, it's on testnet right now. We'll
Yeah.
see how it plays out during 2024. It's expected to go mainnet in June, more or less. With that, we have XNFT, so to have like huge transaction and creation of, and it's more huge batch of creation of NFT. So you can expect like almost ticketing or any type of, new way to use NFT on the blockchain itself. It's cheap, it goes fast. We all know it. We saw what happened with the Solana phone. So they go from the tech to the end user with a phone now. I don't want to expand it too much, but I think they
Yeah.
are doing it right, and the UX is there. So let's see. I'm quite excited with this one.
I mean, it's hard not to pick Solana this year. I was looking at price action yesterday, 800+% year to date. Cheap fees. I think yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, DeFi activity was higher on Solana than on ETH, which is quite telling as well. But what would you say is what is the key driver for the rebound in Solana? What do you attribute it to? I mean, you mentioned a number of things, but if you could pick one.
Right now, I think the main catalyst was the airdrop because we saw a lot of airdrop. Airdrop drives inflows of money, and the activity on all those platforms are due because people want potential airdrop at the moment. So they tend to trade a lot on Solana, and as it's cheap, it attracts a lot of people. I think I don't know about you, Davide, but we mentioned that in the past that Ethereum was super expensive, or maybe everyone is more comfortable to join and do what was done on Ether. You have more people doing it on Solana.
Yes, I absolutely agree. Solana was also my answer to this question because it's very difficult not to pick Solana this year. And I think also the social response and the support from the the people in the crypto world, it's absolutely crazy. I think I've I've seen the same amount of articles about the Bitcoin ETF and and the airdrops on Solana or projects on Solana. Everyone nowadays wants to build on Solana, and I think it's absolutely huge. And it's also crazy, as you mentioned, Maxime, to think that not even a year ago, everyone was saying Solana is dead, and it was really difficult because, as we know, in the crypto world, you're also a lot influenced by what people think and what's the idea at the moment, and not really fundamentals of the blockchain. But I think it's an absolutely crazy recover. I don't remember any recover like this in the history of crypto.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, I knew at least one of you would have picked Solana, so I thought I'd leave that one to you. The one I pick is I'm going to go a bit boring and conservative, but it's Bitcoin, guys. I mean, if we look at the crypto winter, we've seen so much fragility in the ecosystem. But if we go back to the very beginning, this ecosystem, the reason we're on this call, the reason this ecosystem is buoyant and growing is because of Bitcoin, is what it brought as its sort of inception innovation. No CEO, no marketing, no press office, no lawyers, no nothing. It gets hammered and it does its thing time and time again, block by block, through springs, autumns, winters. It keeps doing what it's meant to do. As boring as it might be these days with all other sort of shooting stars, I think we have to look at it yet again as an emblem of resilience, security. So to me, the big shout out yet again is, thanks Satoshi for for having created this nugget of hope for us all and for everything else that blossomed off the back of it. On to the next one, are we, guys? Or any final comments? Any objections? You don't like the Bitcoin idea?
No, I agree, but I just think that Solana is a bigger winner than Bitcoin just today.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned we've never seen that in crypto before. I would say what I see on my end is really kind of similar to what we saw with Ethereum in 2019, 2020, when it went below $100 and everyone was saying like ICO boom is dead, Ethereum is dead, it will never move to proof of stake. Actually, it happened, and we saw a huge was the recovery. I think it was like a 20 to 50x from the bottom. If you really take like the week of the candle on Ethereum, that was around $85 and went all the way up to 5,000. So it's kind of similar, I think, in terms of storytelling, but it's quite amazing. That's true.
Incredible.
Let's go to the second question.
Yeah.
It's loser. David, do you want to start?
Yes, I can. It was, I think, the most difficult question at the moment because there's not really a loser at the moment. It is really difficult to see, and I think we'll have the right answer maybe in some months, looking at how well some coins perform. But I think that like separating biggest from loser, so one loser in today's market, and it is really big but not a big loser. It's I think it's Ethereum, and that's my idea. It's not I don't know how to say it, but it's not a loser completely. But I think it is losing to Solana, which is his biggest competitor, and everyone sees the direction that this match between them is going to is taking. So it's, I think it could be considered a loser, and I think that that most of the people that have the choice of choosing from one to another, from Solana to Ethereum for NFTs and everything, I think it's it is losing, and it is quite clear to the public. I think
I can
that's
see
my.
where you say that. Though I can also see developments underpinning the ETH ecosystem from layer twos to their roadmap for 2024 that maybe an ETF. I've heard that in talks as well, following the BTC one. So relatively speaking, I would concur with you, Davide, but I wouldn't write it off. It's still solidly the second in the crypto ecosystem, and deservedly so. So let's not batter down too soon.
Yeah, I don't think it's. I mean, ETH is huge. It's deflationary now. If you go to ultrasound money, you can monitor. So basically, the fees are burning ETH, as you know, on the network. So the activity is still huge. Of course, it's expensive, but we have a new Ethereum improvement proposition coming up that should reduce fees as well, especially in layers 2. The number, I haven't checked recently, but the number of ETH held by exchanges were at the lowest, which means a lot of people are holding ETH. And you have a yield on ETH. So I think people are just like buying, accumulating, probably some bigger wallet at the moment. They wait patiently, but they know their fundamentals, and I'm pretty sure it will show very strong. I don't want to talk only about the price, but the tech is there, and Ethereum is definitely like huge. Without Ethereum, we would not have the DeFi ecosystem we have at the moment. I don't like to talk about loser because I try to focus on who's winning, and if some others are.
Who's your loser?
I won't mention any project. I will just mention more trends. I think within the top blockchains, we have those who are in the top 10 and those who are like heading towards leaving the top 50 and losing, their spot in the ranking. So for me, those blockchains, it's going to be very difficult for them. They are hold if they can't keep up with the current tech evolution. They will just be forgotten. Just like I can mention one that is like losing for years now. It's EOS. We saw that it was like a top project. They raised like 1 billion, if I remember, over 6 months is back in 2017, 2018. And the use case was never there, and they are losing steam every year. They are climbing down the ranking, and you have few others blockchain that are following the same path. I think there is no activity. They try NFT, they try DeFi, and they try to find their use case, but it's not happening. So I expect some of them will just die.
Interesting. I went a bit macro on my response. So I've picked what I think is the biggest meme coin on the planet, and that's the US dollar. If we just look at the debt ceiling, 33.9 trillion is the global debt level in the United States. That's 33.9 with 12 zeros following that. 122 debt to GDP ratio. I just look at the US running in circles trying to service its debt, meaning paying the interest with the rising levels of interest rates we know. That means that interest they have to service each month, each year, is getting higher and higher. It's I believe it's tripled over the last couple of years. $650 billion per year just to pay the service on that debt. And that means the United States is putting a huge amount of taxpayers' money just in interest payments, as opposed to building infrastructure and growth for the economy as a whole. So, if you ask me, what does this got to do with crypto? We know it has a lot to do with crypto. That's the whole point. Crypto actually exists in the first place from a monetary perspective. So I do worry from a sort of a global economic perspective, from a geopolitical perspective, that we're probably starting to see the end of a fragile global reserve system with the US dollar. You look at where Russia, China, even Saudi are going. I think we're going to see a shift in paradigm in our lifetime, guys. I don't know if it's going to happen this week, this month, this year, but I will not be surprised if the US dollar as a global reserve currency is going to cease to be exactly that in due course. The signs are pretty compelling. So, biggest loser, but at the same time, I think it's a good signal for the crypto ecosystem as well. It ramps up momentum for the Bitcoin and the wider crypto narratives.
Good.
I,
Let's move
I,
to the next one.
I just wanted to add something to my answer.
Go ahead.
No, but just I really like Ethereum. Just one thing, it's like I think is the kind of loser because it's like when there's the world football championship and there's the final. If you lose the final, you're the biggest loser, but you're not the least good. So it's that's my idea. I think it is like an unexpected loser, so it needs to be mentioned, but it's difficult to lose when everyone is winning, and I think Ethereum in general is winning too. I'll go to the next question.
I might go first on this one, on this round. And once again, perhaps to anyone who will care to watch us today, I laid out the questions, but I didn't specify it had to be crypto specific. So to me, the biggest surprise is Argentina. Now, I'm not, for full disclosure, a Bitcoin maxi, nor am I a big fan of extremist political movements. But I do find what is happening in Argentina right now quite interesting and certainly very surprising. So the approach that we're seeing being taken by, um, the new Argentinian president is very disruptive, to say the least, against current public institutions, ministers, and the central bank. What this means from a crypto adoption perspective, I think just yesterday, I believe legislation was passed or some language was expressed to suggest that Argentina will take contracts, will accept contracts denominated in any currency, including Bitcoin. But yeah, I think we should watch this one carefully, as it might start changing the narrative and the way politics plays out, and also contributes to the overall digital asset crypto adoption process. We know Argentina is a super inflating economy, and by the sounds of things, that they're not leaving anything off the table in terms of options available to really re-engineer the system that got them there where they are today. So effectively doing whatever it takes to reset their economy and put them back on the right path. So one to watch. Again, not necessarily the biggest fan of the approach being taken. Electric saw chains and the likes might not really be not necessarily up my street in particular, but nevertheless, let's judge this this movement by the actions, what they'll be able to achieve. So yeah, I'll be watching this one closely.
Okay, I can go and answer. My answer it's similar to Francisco, to what Francisco said. Is it's not really related it's kind of related to crypto, and it's the difference of perception for those who are into crypto and those who aren't. And it's something that also Maxime said at the start. The greatest surprise, the surprise that I have had in the past months is the difference of perception. I can see people from outside the crypto world saying, "Oh, okay, crypto is still moving, so it's not dead. We'll see." But I see that from an inside perception and an inside point of view. I see everything going absolutely crazy, and everyone is so excited, and everyone is participating to airdrops, trying new tools, creating. And I see it like a big creative moment, and a big moment where everyone is trying to try everything out. And I feel like it is really different from what's the perception from outside. I see a lot of people like looking at crypto saying, "Oh, let's see what happens if the EDF is approved. Let's see what happens with the halving." And it's something that I'm curious too about. But it's not only that. I see literally the market being reanimated, and everyone trying to try as many tools as possible and doing as many researches as possible. And I feel like it is that's really good, I think, for the market.
Fantastic. Maxime, what about you?
I'm gonna be a bit more, let's say, core crypto. I was
Go for
quite
it.
surprised by the rise of meme coin once again this year, because we had the Pepe that did extremely well back in May, June, printing like hundreds of percent in a couple of days and weeks. We saw the same with Bonk on Solana recently.
Yeah.
And what surprised me the most is the difference between previous cycles, because previous cycles, so I started to get into crypto during the bull market in 2017. And we used to say that first the money inflows in Bitcoin, then it moved to ETH, then it goes to major mid caps. And it's only after that that you see
And
some
water flow.
altcoins. Yeah, and the flows goes from top to the bottom of the ranking, let's say.
Yeah.
But it's not really the case anymore. Like we saw, as soon as we have a bit of momentum on Bitcoin and Bitcoin starts ranging instead of going down, so we're like, oh, it's maybe an uptrend. Quickly, the money inflows in other caps, major capitalization, and then meme coin can pop at any time. And we don't have this time to really move flows. It goes faster and faster. So I was quite surprised to see that happening. But for me, yeah, I like it, to be honest. I think those meme coin are still part of the crypto culture, and without them, would be maybe a bit more boring. So
That's
it's still
interesting.
fun to see.
I've certainly noticed that too, Maxime, though I do question whether that's good or bad, whether that's just people from prior cycles trying to get into the market early and make money quickly. So gambling effectively on the smaller caps projects sooner, as opposed to try and get a return on BTC and ETH that might have already, obviously people that got into BTC in, a few hundreds or even double digits are the real heroes, right? And no one's going to be able to emulate those kind of people. So find the small cap, the $1, $2, $10, tokens out there.
Yeah, but that's
Might
also
need
the
to have a higher yield. I'm not suggesting this is right or wrong, but I tread carefully.
yeah. You have to be careful. Non-financial advice, of course. I see it as well as if you got into Bitcoin today, you might think that we are talking about some targets in the media, but you won't print the return that Bitcoin has printed in the past, right? The upside is limited. So, of
Yeah.
course, if you have huge capital, you'll be maybe more comfortable, of course, to be into Bitcoin for the stability. You don't need like 10, 20, and 100x return. You're not dreaming of those return. But maybe new people entering the space are like, oh, Bitcoin, Ethereum, the top 10 major cap. I mean, I won't really make life-changing money there, so I'll try to gamble on other assets. So I think we have both. But as you said, you have to be super careful. But I'm still surprised as well that big exchanges are listing those tokens, because we talk a lot about regulation and so on, being more strict, but we still saw Bonk being listed on any major exchanges almost. So that's still surprising to me.
I agree with Maxime. I think meme coins are part of the global crypto marketing. It's like it's a small part, but with those crazy numbers, I think they make everything seem more exciting from outside. And I think as long as someone doesn't lose the house or something really important to him, I think it's still a way to get closer to crypto and understand better.
Just invest only what you can afford to lose. Little reminder to everyone. Fantastic. Shall we move on to the next question?
Yes.
Davide, do you want to start? Tech of the year.
Okay. Yes, I think that's pretty easy. I think AI is the big theme,
Yeah, man,
and I
I have
think
the
that
same.
yes, I think everyone agrees to that. It's absolutely crazy. considering the crypto market, but also globally. I saw like the description of every project, almost 50% of the project that I'm following, their description, their bio, their everything is changing, and everyone is adding AI, like those two letters there, and I think it's a big trend. We saw some projects growing a lot, and I think it's with with the real and the correct use case. I think it could be here to stay. So it's AI is my pick.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. So I'm not going to add much. All I'd say is, I mean, not being the most technical person on the planet, it's certainly a technology that not only do I think I start understanding, but I'm using it, and that's just been incredible. I think we've used it on our platform to help us think about our strategy, do some research for our articles. For instance, Maxime has been often telling us about Midjourney. I just saw the last V6 come out, if I'm not mistaken. There's a post from Lex Friedman that was quite eye-watering, really, really fascinating, of him and an AI debating about the future. I can't remember what the theme was, but it was quite a compelling image of Lex and an AI talking to one another on his famous podcast, just as sort of a yet another amazing visualization of what's out there, what's coming, and how we can integrate all of this intelligence in everyday personal, professional, walks of life. Maxime, anything controversial on your side? Anything else?
No. I think definitely AI was the move this year, and it will still be for many years. I guess we know it will evolve exponentially. So that's the language models will learn super fast. So don't know what to expect. So not much to add on that.
In our exponential sort of digital age we're living through, God knows what the 2024 tech of the year will be. Well, we only have a few days to turn the page and start hearing what's the next big thing.
But one thing is sure, in my opinion, that it is that 2024 tech of the year will be created thanks to AI also, because it's I think it will be something used forever from now on. So it's I think AI will have forever a part of the tech of the year of the next years.
I guess it will eventually become somewhat boring, maybe as the base layer, like the internet, that's allowing us to talk the way we are talking right now. It'll just be there in the background, part of an integrated part of everything. Next one.
Let's move. Okay.
What are you excited about, guys?
Myself, within the crypto space, I want to see wallet abstraction. Like, I really want to see tech or app where you can just log in and will manage to link your account or your wallet to your logins or credentials, and you won't even notice or pay attention to the transaction and everything that is running on the background. So it's wallet abstraction plus don't talk about blockchain or NFT or whatsoever. Just I want to see real use cases. So I'm excited because I know some tech are doing this. We have projects such as Helium that is basically running on the Solana blockchain, but those are those HubSpot that you can run and provide 5G and internet coverage yourself. We have those mappers also, IoT devices, where you basically do the same as a Google map. So you can film with your car, you're rewarded with tokens, but we have real use cases, and it's what matter most than what's the tech behind. So I want to see real use cases, and I'm excited. I think we will see finally this happening in 2024.
Interesting. What about you, Davide?
I think I'm excited. It's something that everyone is excited. So it is how the market will behave when and if the EDF will be approved, and with the halving, I think it's I'm really curious to see how everything will go, how the market will react to those news, and if those news are confirmed. Because the halving is quite sure, but it's we don't really know about the ETF, and I'm really excited to see how the market will behave in the first months of this year. I think it's going to be something crazy. So I'm really excited, and I'm ready to take a seat and have a look.
Nice. In my book, well, we're going to move into the 15th year of crypto, right? So well into teenage years. And I think what the industry really needs, we wrote about this in our research paper for the CVA on risk management in Web3, is a bit of stability, a bit less of sort of the parabolic up and downs, which let's be honest, as I said earlier, might be great for some project, but it can also be very damaging for investors trying to FOMO too late into the cycle and lose all their money on the way down, being always the last to get out. So having a bit more sort of stable markets, also with the help of regulations, having a level playing field for the whole industry, whether it's the TradFi users getting into crypto or the crypto startup ecosystem itself coming to age. I think we need just a bit more maturity, posture, trust, integrity in the market as a whole. So less of these hyperbolic ups and downs and a bit more up and to the left, sustainable growth to as we go at northeast, right? Keep growing, but steadily, not hyperbolically. Ideally, that would be great to see. Less of the former and more of the latter. Cool. Best book or podcast? Who are the readers or the podcasters amongst you? I'm a big reader and podcaster, so I'm going to go last again.
Okay. I listen a lot of podcasts. I try to not stick to always the same people, but there's of course a Bankless that I'm following on a weekly basis. I think the quality of the content is pretty good. Free as well. It's something I really like, but that's kind of my go-to podcast when I want to listen something about crypto. There is one that I really like that is less known called the GM Show, which is more focusing on the Asian market, NFTs, and they interviewed a lot of founders. It's a media launched by a crypto project called Memeland. They have multiple NFTs collection. They did really well in 2023, by the way. And they also launched a crypto called Mem, so a pure meme coin. It's quite interesting. Not financial advice, but I invite you to take a look because that's quite exciting what they're building. But that will be my two pick, Bankless and Gem Show.
Nice.
Okay, I'm more of a YouTube guy, so usually I don't listen to podcasts or read books. I mainly watch tons of YouTube videos, and my pick is I have an international pick and an Italian pick. So it's when I want to listen to something in Italian, I follow a guy that is called the Crypto Gateway, and it is really good at it, and it does a recap like every day of all the news that have been discovered and everything, and covers a lot of different topics. So that's my Italian pick. And for the same reason, but just with different language, I also follow Altcoin Daily, which is a kind of a big crypto YouTube account, and it's very useful because it helps me like knowing what is happening, and if I miss any news, and that's it. But those are my two best pick. But I use a lot of YouTube for keeping up with the news.
Nice. A few nice pointers there that I can follow myself. I hadn't heard of some of those. I had heard, of course, of unbanked, which I also follow, Maxime, on a regular basis, albeit clearly they are pretty ETH maxis, I'd say, although quite open-minded, but very ETH-centric. In terms of books, my best reads ever that got me into this space are Broken Money, which is actually a reasonably new one from Lynn Alden, who I think is an amazing analyst from both the traditional macro world, but also crypto money fundamentals. Very, very good book. It's inspired me a lot. The Price of Tomorrow, which is really a book about technology and the deflationary nature of technology, how every new layer of technology should actually bring more value at a lower cost. So actually, this is written by Jeff Booth. It helps us think about how actually how the world should work is assets value should get cheaper. We should be able to afford more because technology should make everything cheaper. But actually, that sort of fights off the macroeconomic monetary system effects of an inflationary economy, and it makes you think about why is that. And then Layered Money, which is a book by Nick Bhatia, which helps explain just the money system, how it's evolved from gold to money to fractional reserve economies. We've covered that in one of our first recordings, actually, which hopefully we could produce at some point, on what is money, history and money, and why we are where we are. And in terms of podcast, I go through so many, and I try to cover the whole spectrum. So from the traditional Bitcoin ones, I suppose I do like what Money did from Peter McCormack. He is a Bitcoiner, so it's very Bitcoin focused, but he's taken a bit of a wider lens now. He actually defines his own podcast as a macro podcast, and I do like that because it talks less about what Bitcoin is and why it's important, and it helps people in fairly simple English, I think, understand what is happening in the wider economy. And he brings quite a broad range of speakers. And he's actually recently done a few short movies, which are actually quite interesting if you've not seen them, maybe to watch during the holidays. I like Unchained from Laura Shin. Very, very good, very broad. I think also the tone is quite straightforward, not overly technical. So I think quite good also for people stepping in to sort of the crypto world. Although she does, go into quite some detail on some topics. There's a great session I liked recently on what's happening at Binance right now. She also wrote an amazing book, The Cryptopians, on the history of Ethereum. Of how they started up in Zug with the first stories of Vitalik and Charles Hodgkinson and others, and how it all came about, which is not shy of any sort of controversial elements that are good nuggets to know of. I'll stop there, otherwise I could go on for hours. But there's really a lot of good, great content out there.
Yeah, we will do a full episode on what to listen, what to read.
Yeah, we should.
Let's go to the next question, which is our prediction.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Before doing any real prediction, I think we have like a direction first, which is definitely some area that are performing better than others. We saw AI already, and it's going to continue, I think, in 2024. We have a DePin that is related to what I mentioned before, IoT devices connected, and where you have, like, let's say, more reward use case. We have SocialFi, so it's still not there yet, but we have platforms that are being built. We saw that with Lens, mostly. That is running by the team of Stani. And yeah, GameFi, of course. I think gaming is the hottest right now. It's kind of emerging, but I think it will be like one of the big narrative and one of the strongest in 2024. In terms of prices, I think there is enough around internet and mostly on Twitter and so on. I don't want to make too much price prediction. I think it's too much speculation. Let's say I'm expecting like a lot of new all-time highs on major projects. I will not take too much risk. I got a good risk management today.
Davide, what about you?
I'm a bit more degen than Maxime, so what I'm expecting it's not financial advice, and it's I'm not I've not been in the market for that many years, but what I'm expecting is a very parabolic bull run. I think this bull run will be shorter in terms of time than the previous ones, and after that I expect regulations to come in very quickly and doing probably also a little bit of damage, because what we saw in the past, like with Ripple or sometimes with possible things with Bitcoin. I think it will happen the same, but for a bigger number of crypto at the same time. So we'll see what happens, but I think it will be a bull run, and then there will be a period of time that where some projects will perform well and some projects will have difficulties, and it will be difficult to understand if it's a bull market or a bear market, because I think also we we could see for the first time project performing in different directions, and maybe top 10 cryptos getting more attention for what they offer and not for the volumes of the market. So that's my prediction.
Just on that last point, again, we covered part of this in our research paper, but I mean, I keep seeing as the whole industry, from Binance at the top to anyone in the ecosystem, that's the proverbial 20 odd thousand tokens on the market. I don't even know if that's the right number. Who's really there counting? But it's all an ecosystem of startups. So even if we assume they're all legit and all amazing, they live by startup dynamics, capital, cash flows, teams, development, products, market fit. I expect to see a lot of consolidation in this space. Whether it will all materialize next year, but if we'll end up with, I mean, usually in the sort of a startup nature, 5% of startups make it, 95 fail. That would take us from 20 odd thousand cryptos to 1,000. Maybe that's not a bad place to end up in. Less, but securer, slightly more regulated cryptos. Anyway, none of this was my prediction. I just echoing your words, David. I have a positive and a negative one. From a positive perspective, I very much hope, as we've gone from sort of the beginning of crypto, again back to Bitcoin, the sort of the cyberpunks, the crypto geeks, tech geeks, retail investors, now we're getting into institutional adoption, plus sort of sovereigns like El Salvador, maybe Argentina, and a few other sovereigns like Oman, Sudan, supporting the mining industry, for instance. So it's an indirect way of suggesting a degree of support. But I'd love to see a G20 country, not Argentina, but a G20 country open up to admitting that they're stacking sats and holding Bitcoin and maybe other assets, stablecoins, as opposed to their own central bank denominated currencies in their own reserves in their central banks. That would be very bullish, I think, and a great injection of confidence to the market. On the negative side, I remain cautious, maybe by nature as a risk manager, on the sort of the buoyant, hyperinflating, supersonic bull runs. I worry about stablecoins. We've seen algorithmic stablecoins go very sour in the last winter. What happens if the market 3, 5, 10x's? And what do we really know is the resilience and security of Tether and USDC. What if they don't have the goods to back up their currency? So I think we need a hell of a lot more transparency, trust, visibility, audits. I mean, we started off again with open source, decentralized technology. I think we really need to understand exactly how these stable coins are operating, at what level of confidence they are able to deliver their one-to-one peg to the dollar, the euro, gold, or whatever it may be. And because they're so important as on and off ramps into the whole crypto market. I dread, I hope not, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see some negative news in that space. Again, I hope not, but we need more security and confidence. We need to be absolutely 100% crystal clear that there's nothing shady in that space, as otherwise that could be a bit like a stack of cards just crumbling if we lose confidence in stable coins.
Agree. Hopefully, we'll see this happen over the course of 2024. And
yes,
I agree with you on
out, and maybe we're just going to see more upfront audited insights as to why they are working, and will be able to sustain a growing market.
Yeah, and we also have to be realistic. Whether we see a huge inflow of capital, ETF, or because we still don't know. I guess we should still stay in the mindset of building a better financial system, and do not replicate the mistake of traditional finance, because we will just end up being a copy paste of the crisis of subprimes and so on at the end.
Exactly.
So hopefully we'll do better.
Guys, we've covered all of our reflections and predictions. I enjoyed that. I hope any viewers will enjoy it and find it insightful as well.
Yeah, that was great. Don't forget to leave your comments. Let us know what you think. Let us know how we can improve. That's the most important thing. And whether bad or good, as long as it's constructive, we will take it. Wish you all, of course, a wonderful Christmas Eve. Take care of your loved ones. And I think we can wrap up here.
Fantastic. You couldn't have wrapped it up better. Thanks, Maxime. Happy Christmas to everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Thank you. Bye.